Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hey, my friend, imagine this. Imagine having a quiet place. I had one, and I used to call it my quiet place. It was in my garden back in Cambridge. And it was by a shed. There was a shed and a lean-to, and the garden was there. There was a barrel which was filled with water, which had nothing in it, apart from the odd frog would jump in, or the toad would jump in now and again. A few plants around it. But it was mine. It was my quiet place. I would go in the mornings, early morning, with my first cup of coffee, my journal. Everything was quiet, with the exception of birds. Yeah, there was a few sounds of the traffic going past, but they seemed to blot themselves out. And I could just write my journal. But if ever I needed time to think, I could just go to my quiet place. And it was like an anchor. An anchor for me to go, you're safe here, Cluffy. You can have a think. And maybe you'll find some answers. And that was my way of creating inner peace. Then there was another way. When I first started trainings, and I had to get ready to be on stage, as it were. And I knew I wasn't going to be in presenter mode, because that wasn't me. I wanted to be me, but I wanted to get away from the noise. So what I did, I used to put on my headphones, turn on some wonderful music, and just go for a walk. And it literally took everything away from me. The music was inspiring, and I could breathe because I was out in the fresh air. And I just got into the state of being Cluffy. Me. Because I got rid of everything. And again, it was like getting out of the noise, beyond the noise, creating some type of inner peace, but a different type of inner peace. And I just did it. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, or I'm going to be talking about. The title, Beyond the Noise, Creating Inner Peace and Self-Therapy. So what does that mean? You see, there's so much noise, isn't there? So much noise all around. And you get used to it. I bet if you listened around now, you'd hear people talking too much, maybe. Maybe there's a TV going on and there's so much noise in that TV. Bloody news and things like that. Or bonky bloody programs. You know, these fly-in-the-wall type things, reality programs, which are no more reality than fly in the bloody air. You got your phone. A phone that used to be there for contacting people, but now it's on social media. And there's so much in that social media that is basically just noise. Doesn't do you any good. It's just there, banging away. And it's trying to find even more ways to give you more noise. You switch on the radio. And there's some inane bloody people there. Some of the things, if you actually listen to what they say, they are actually saying absolutely nothing. It's just noise. And maybe they're just people wanting your attention all the time. Now, that could be a nice noise, but it's still noise. It's still distracting. And the thing is, there's a rule. If you let that rule us, that's the rule. If you let that noise rule us, it will create anxiety. It will create overwhelm because you can't think of the things that are important. because you've got that noise going on. That can lead to depression because we're not getting our stuff done, what we want to get done. Or we feel the world is on top of us. That might even be panic because we're trying to do something. We've got so much interference coming on. And then we might take up these weird behaviours of OCD. And they are just behaviours, by the way. OCD, attention is taken away, ADHD, but it may not be that because it's just your attention is being sought for all over the bloody place. Pretty down, eh? Pretty down. So what's the answer? What's the answer, you might say, Cluffy? And I have the answer. Create inner peace. And that's all it is. It's that simple. Create inner peace. And if it was that simple, we'd all do it, wouldn't we? But the thing is, there's a wonderful excuse we give ourselves. Because I know what a lot of people say. And they say it when they come to my therapy room. Oh, I can't give that time. I can't work on myself. I can't take time to be with myself because that's bloody selfish, isn't it? It's selfish. I've got people to look after. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I've got to be there. Got to be this. Back into overwhelm, back into anxiety, causing depression, all that stuff, But it's not. It's not selfish. Not selfish one bloody bit. You see, think of this. We can think about the people we love first. There's a circle of people who we love and they love us, yeah? Now, who would they rather be with? Would they rather be with you when you're stressed, when you're anxious, when you're overwhelmed, when you're depressed, when you're rushing around right, left and centre and not really giving anybody any attention at all? Or would they prefer to be around you when you're feeling a little bit more like yourself? Because you've had a little bit of inner peace. You've created time for yourself and you feel better in yourself. And the thing is, when you do that, you feel better in yourself every time you do it and it gets better and better and better. You deal with things because it's self-therapy. You therapize yourself. I know that's not a word, but it is now. And you feel better in yourself and they're around you and they feel better now because they're around you. And guess what that does? It makes you feel better. Makes you feel more happy, more centered, more whatever. And they get to have that too. So it's selfish, I think, and this is what I tell my clients, it's selfish if you don't work on yourself, if you don't take time for yourself. That's the selfish thing, because you're not giving those people who you love the best version of yourself at that time. And you can also apply that to career, to work, to even people who, we call them love, but you like them. But if you're not centered in your own self, you're still not giving your best version of yourself at that time. It may not be the best of the best of the best, but it's the best you can get at that time. For them, you're not there listening. You're not there with them. You're not there, connecting in the way that is so nice. All because you thought it was selfish. So what is this concept of self-therapy? Let's go into that now. How does it differ from normal therapy? Well, it's a little bit in the title, isn't it? Old common sense and hiding in plain sight is all there. Self-therapy is you do it yourself, for yourself, on yourself. But it's not really therapy. It's time to breathe, maybe. Time to disengage from the noise. It's time to explore. Real therapy is one-to-one. You've got someone there who's going to maybe push you to explore. But that's sometimes because you have an issue. It could be one-to-many. You go to a therapy group and it gives you support. And I see this podcast, and the reason I do it is because not only is it therapy, I think it is, because I'm coming from it from a therapeutic and NLP hypnosis and all that hypnotherapy background, but it's also giving ways to therapize yourself, self-therapy. But it is really just giving yourself a little bit of time. but time away from that noise. Because I find it really difficult if you're in the noise and you're trying to explore your thoughts. Because sometimes with the noise, you don't even realize there's thoughts to explore. And when you sit down quietly and you ask yourself proper questions, what do I want? What do I want? How do I want to feel? What is troubling me? Because they don't have to be big issues, do they? But things can trouble you. And they may not be the things that you would go and see a therapist about. I just need to speak to somebody. So how am I feeling? How would I approach it? I wonder what they want. All those wonderful questions if you then go inside and think. You're creating that inner peace. And you're using inner peace to explore the answers that you need. Because when you give yourself space, it's either your unconscious mind or the universe or multiverse or whatever it is, they'll supply the answers to you. Yeah. So that's what I think. That's where we're going. We want to make use of this inner peace, creating inner peace, and learning to explore ourselves in a gentle way. Because you have all the answers. You just don't know you know, but you do know. And you give yourself the space to do so. So what are the techniques? And I don't like the word techniques. I did write it down, then I wrote the word practices of creating inner peace because I thought that sounded a lot more better. A lot more better? Yeah. But it really is how do we create this inner peace? Now you could, a bit like me, have that quiet place, creating your own quiet place, a place to go where you know you'll be undisturbed. It may have the music you want, it might be the ambience that just anchors or triggers off inner peace in yourself and that time and space to have therapy on yourself, to think. Now, I've done a lot of work on this, and hashtag 332 was about going and finding peace in your mind. I've talked about my quiet place, and I think that might be hashtag, 211, I'm not sure. But just search my quiet place. There's some hypno from FMQ 82 about going to that quiet place in your mind. So there's a lot of tools you can use already. So you can either search the back catalogue or go to the hypnosis tracks and you'll find them. Where'd you get that hypnosis? I'll explain it at the end. Yeah, I'll just explain it at the end and we won't interrupt now. But it's also on my premium tracks on paulcloughonline.com. There's a premium hypnosis track about creating your inner palace, and it's called Inner Sanctuary. Your inner sanctuary retreat, which is creating that quiet place in your mind where you can then go. So they're all the tools you can make or have at your disposal, and there's more. You see, the practices of mindfulness. You can get some lovely apps on that bloody phone of ours, but there's some things are really good. Guided meditations. Books about being mindful techniques. Because when you're mindful of things, you're aware of the noise maybe even more. And you're also aware when it's quiet. And you set times to be mindful. Along with those guided meditations, you've got those hypnosis tracks. Again, they'll be at the end. What else could you do? Well, I love journaling. Journaling for me first thing in the morning is awesome because I'm in a quiet place. I'm in my kitchen normally, but there's no one around because they're still asleep most of the time. Because I get up pretty early, get my cup of coffee, get my journaling, and I just do it. And I've been doing it for donkey's years. Over 25 years I've been doing it. Most mornings. Missed very few. And I use it for sometimes a mind dump. And the mind dump is very similar to The Artist's Way. If you look up that book, The Artist's Way, can't remember the author. And it's all about just filling up. They have like 4 pages of just letting your mind dump every day. And I did that for a few months. But sometimes in my journaling, it might be a mind dump, just getting stuff out. Or I might explore things. How do I feel today? Or I've got something I'll write and I'll get a feeling. And I go, oh, that's different. I wonder what this is. And instead of just saying it in my head, I'll write it down. I wonder what this feeling is. I wonder what it's trying to say to me. Oh, it's changed. And I'll write that down. Or if I want, what do I want to do? What am I not doing that's stopping me doing these things? Or what am I doing that's stopping me doing these things? So that is like self-therapy and a quiet place all in one go. So it's not just creating that inner peace. Well, it is creating inner peace. It's doing everything, self-therapy and inner peace. So journaling is a wonderful thing to do, whether you do it just by writing. Writing is great because writing is thinking, but thinking in a different way. It's deep thinking, I think. Yeah. What else could you do? There's so many, by the way. The wonderful thing is, go and walk in nature. And you might say, oh, there's no nature here. Just walk. At worst, just walk. You'll find a tree. You'll find a tree to hug or talk. Talk to a tree. It works, though. But just go walk. Because that is a wonderful place, isn't it? It's a wonderful place to work. Beyond the noise. It creates inner peace. It's like another quiet place. Yes, there'll be noise around, there'll be people there, but they disappear when you just intend to find that inner peace in a walk. You can do it through exercise. Now, yoga is a wonderful thing because you're doing a mindful thing as well. Very meditative or meditation-like if you do yoga in some ways. Some people need to go to the gym because it gets them away from the noise. Now, it gets them away from the noise, but I think sometimes, it's not really that self-therapy. You're not really creating inner peace, but you are getting through and beyond the noise. And that could be a great start because it breaks a pattern, gets you away from the noise. And even when you come away from the gym, you sit if you've gone by car or something like, or however you get there, you could just stop for a moment and start creating that inner peace for yourself. Reading, giving your time to read, but read with intention. Read to maybe learn, read to create something, to be inspired. Set a particular time. So you're creating that, that quiet place to be able to read. So tell people, that's it, this is my time. We'll go into that in a minute. But reading can be great, even if it is fiction. It gets your mind going from other places. It can be so good. Just generally writing. You might want to write. So instead of journaling, which is for me my morning habit, but sometimes just writing. Writing my notes for the podcast really gets me to think, really gets me to be in the flow, as it were. It's an inner peace for me, but it's also self-therapy. All this is self-therapy, by the way. If you've noticed, these are all the things that either I do and I've had to do because of things, or I'm being troubled, or I'm going through issues, or things are disturbing my life and I want to make it differently. And as I find different things, I'll share it with you. Or it'll make me share it with you because I find the solutions, because I want to share it with you. So there's writing. Just get a book to write. You can get a creative book, all different types of books. My little puzzle book and things like that. Just things, but just writing. Maybe writing about your life of the past. Just set a few minutes aside because you'll create that quiet space and it will be some self-therapy. I guarantee you it will be self-therapy because you're learning. What can I learn from this? And the minor one, which is the big one, put that bloody phone away for a bit. Take the apps off it. Take the apps that you keep clicking and looking. Or put them on another page so you don't see them. But put the phone away for a little while. Put it in the other room. Go to that special place. Create that quiet place for you. The only time I have my phone in a quiet place is to play music. That's it. So there's so many different ways. That was 7 different ways you can create quiet places, inner peace, and get your self-therapy. Yeah, 7. How many can you come up with? Because if you do, let me know. I'd like to know the different ways that you practice creating inner peace for yourself and get that self-therapy. Please email me, personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. No, it isn't at all, is it, Cluffy? No, it isn't. It's feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. And I'll do another blooming episode of different ways that we can create inner peace and get our own self-therapy. Because I know you've got stuff that I haven't thought of. Things at work. And I'd love to model it and then share it with as many people who will listen. Let's share it with the other 4 people here. But the thing is, what if? Let's do the what if. Obstacles. Now, some of the obstacles we get about creating this inner peace and doing self-therapy is that bloody self-talk we have, the negative self-talk. And just change it. And change it in so many different ways. Remember, write this down. This is not selfish. This is important. It has value to both you and everyone around you. It is so ecological for you to find inner peace. Creating inner peace and that self-therapy. Finding time for yourself. So if you get that negative self-talk, if you really wanted to, with a little NLP trick, change the bloody tone of the voice. If it's a male voice, change it to a female voice. If it's a female voice, change it to a male voice. But change it into a different type of voice. It could be Mickey Bloody Mouse for all I care. Because that will just change that negative self-talk into something which it is. Bloody rubbish. And the thing is then, what you can do is create that quiet place where you'll be free of interruptions. Because that's one of the obstacles, isn't it? It's interruptions. And if you create that quiet space and you're in it, people will get to know. Set the lighting, get the music, get the right temperature, get the ambience, whatever it is, just for you. Maybe a candle, maybe a incense, maybe whatever. A lovely scented candle, whatever's right for you. And people will tend to get it because what you're also going to do is set a boundary. Because that's the other thing about obstacles. If you set boundaries, you tell people, this is my time. Hey, this is my time for me. And it's only going to be 20 minutes, for Christ's sake. And this is where I feel good. When I come out of this, I'm going to give you all the time you need. But for me, this is me and my time. So not only am I creating a quiet place, I'm creating inner peace in me. I'm self-therapizing. And when I come out, I'm going to be the best version I could be at that time. And it will just get better and better. So set your boundaries. And keep them. Because everyone can give you 20 minutes. Everyone can say, yeah, you got 20 minutes. If I know you're coming back, you have the time of your life. And you'll also be being the change you want to see in the world because other people really need their time, their inner peace, their time away from the noise, because you could be their noise, remember. And give them time to discover what's going on in their life. That's self-therapy. Yeah. So that's they're the what ifs, and it's really just obstacles and making sure that you are disciplined in looking after yourself, because no other bugger will do it for you. It's up to you. You're responsible for you. End of. Responsible for you, so be responsible. And you got my support. You do have my support. Even if it's only 20 minutes to say, I'm going to have a little bit of self-hypnosis, or I'm going to borrow one of Clough's hypnosis tracks just to find out more about me. Because in those hypnosis tracks, there's a lot of self-discovery as well. Leads you into self-discovery. Yeah. So that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's all about building this into your life. Making these routines sacrosanct. And it's your time. And it's consistency. That's what it's all about. If you read, there's this wonderful book about routines. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like this guy, he looked at 100 people who were really, really good at their work and that, and they had a routine and they set time for themselves. But it was sacrosanct. They did this. They made sure they looked after themselves, and they did it in a way that they didn't have to think about it after a while, because it became just a habit, a wonderful habit, and it was a habit that they look forward to. Because this is all about you being compassionate to you. You do it for a best friend, you'd say, no, you need a bit of time, you go away, you enjoy, look after yourself. That's what you're doing for you. And why? Because you're the only person, as I said, you're the only person you can do it. You're the only one responsible. It's called cause and effect. If you want to live at the effect side of the noise, go ahead. But you'll never be happy, because you'll be at the beck and call of everything else. But once you take responsibility, you become a cause. And when you become a cause, you create the effects in your life. And you create that calmness, that feeling of being at one with yourself, aligned, congruent, every bloody long word you can think of. That's what you become, because you're a cause. You are creating the life that you deserve, because you can. And I'm going to support you in that in every bloody way. There you go. So let's summarize. Let's just summarize. Put it all together. It's your responsibility to get beyond the noise. Identify the noise. Look at places where you can find time to breathe, to explore, to disengage, to think about your life and the things that you want. Think of those practices, creating places for inner peace, quiet places, become mindful, maybe journaling, self-exploration, go for walks in nature, go to the gym, maybe yoga, Tai Chi, all those wonderful things. Maybe find wonderful things to read and make notes of and think about. Maybe just write about your life. Put that bloody phone away. And remember, set your boundaries. Because only you can. And once you set boundaries, people will understand them. Because you've got that routine. Because you are responsible for you. You're at the cause. There you go. I've summarised the whole bloody lot in about 30 seconds. There you go. So, I do hope you enjoyed that. I hope it's made you think. I hope it's made you want to find a place where you can create inner peace and bit of self-therapy. To look inside and explore what you want. Find ways just to breathe, maybe. Hope it has. Hope it's motivated you and given yourself permission to look after yourself. I do hope that. If there's anything you want from this, it's given you something to think about, and you think, actually, I would like to explore something else. Let me know. That same email address applies. feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. Love to hear the type of things that you want, or the type of things you created, or what you've got from creating quiet places and creating inner peace for yourself, and what's come out of it. I'd love to hear all those things. So let me know whether there's anything you need or what you've already achieved. Let's celebrate together. That'd be awesome. And if you would, and I say it every time, if you just share it to a few people, I'd love you to share it to everyone, but if you just share this podcast, tell everyone about the Personal Development Unplugged podcast, this episode maybe, to get them to subscribe, because I know you have, because I know I've got at least 5 subscribers now. So I know you're one of them, aren't you? So if you would, share, subscribe, and do all that stuff. And just before we fly, just remember, in a moment, there'll be 90 seconds of hypnosis. Okay? So have fun, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now. So, the 90 seconds of hypnosis tracks. Why have I put hypnosis tracks on a separate website? Well, it's so simple, really. I wanted you to have them all in one place, so you can look through them all. You can find the particular one you want. I've even made them downloadable, so you can put them on any of your playing devices that you prefer. You don't need Wi-Fi, you don't need the iTunes or whatever. You can put them anywhere you like. You can even burn them onto disk if you want. Where do you get them? Well, there you go. I told you, it's paulcloughonline.com/podcast. If you're worried about your email address, please don't be, because they stay totally safe with me. I only use them to send you out that email and give you access. Simple as that. I send you a link, a special link, so you and only you can access those hypnosis tracks, because I want them just for you. And the other thing about this is you've taken responsibility. I don't want to make these open to everyone, just random. You have taken responsibility to listen and be part of this community of personal development. And I want to help you. I want to help you personally to get your dreams, your goals, and therefore I'm giving you these tools, these protocols, these paradigms, whatever you want to call them, but in deep hypnosis. So just enjoy. Have more fun than you can stand with hypnosis.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.